Hey there, welcome to Createful Art. We're going to create some more with watercolors today. And I just want to give a shout out to one of my patrons who asked for this particular watercolor lesson. You get to ask me for the lessons that you want, and I really appreciate the support so that I can create these videos for you. And I really appreciate you sending me projects that you want to do, because that's exciting. I want to give you what you want. This is a really easy project and very beautiful. What you need is watercolors. Use whatever colors you want. In the description below is a list of all these colors. So what I want to do is I want to grab my water and activate my colors. And the first color that I'm going to activate is my brown, and I'm going to activate both browns here. Okay, so I'm just gonna let that soak in there and then activate the other color. Okay, get them nice and creamy. Then what I want to do is I want to make sure that I have enough room that this whole painting is going to fill this in and not be a little small painting in the middle. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of outlining the size. So I don't want it to reach all the way to the edge here, and this is the pot that I'm making with this brown. Okay, and this is just the first color. So I'm going to outline it, and I'm going to come down to the bottom here. And if you decide that none of your lines work, you can just take your paper towel and lift up the color. Okay, and then I'm going to come around and give it this edge right here on the side here. Okay, I have to come back in and get some color, and I'm going to get the darker brown this time. Okay, and I'm not going to worry about this at all being perfect. Okay, I'm going to make a round section right here. This is going to have a leaf, and then this center right here I just add water and drag the color in, otherwise I'll have edges. See where it dries, it begins to have edges. Okay, and I'm going to leave room for a leaf right there. This is not at the final stage of what this will look like. So the next thing is that I want to add my green. Now, if I add my green over this brown, what's going to happen is it's going to bleed into it. And that happens because it's wet paint, and wet paint going together on wet paint bleed. Okay? And that's the look we want to have, actually, especially down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that leaf in here, and I'm going to let it bleed, and with that other color. Okay, and if you find that your green color is a little too green and not enough of the yellow, all you have to do is grab some of your yellow color here and add it up here, and your green, and I'm just going to add it straight in and then add it on top. Okay, and it's okay to have different colors of green in this. It actually looks really good. And I'm just going to the edge of this. Now I'm going to add more leaves, which are going to look like blobs for now. Okay, so I'm going to take a leaf, bring it over here, and I'm just going to leave a tiny little white sliver to separate them. Now I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to add some more leaf. Just letting a sliver between it. Okay, now I'm going to go back down here, and I'm going to add some darker green. And to get darker green, I have to activate this color more, and I might want to add a little more brown. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to add a little more dark to it, and it'll just bleed right into the other color. And I'm going to focus on like the shadow areas, which would be closer to the stem area. Now I'm going to let that dry, because any lines that I want to add in there for detail, I need this to dry. So I'm going to come over here and add a leaf. And it's going to be a blob again. Just be free with it. Okay, and then I'm going to add another one and add a separated leaf that's just really small, kind of crumpled or something, and crumpled here. Okay, and then I'm going to take some of this color right here, and I'm going to add it up here to just complement it. Okay, add a little water to move it around. Okay, so now I'm gonna come in and add a little bit of darker. And I'm gonna separate this leaf a little bit by making a line of separation. Now the line of separation is much easier to make if this color is more dry. Otherwise it just kind of bleeds in. And so you can wait a little bit for yours to dry a little more, but I want a little bit of bleeding. So you're probably following along, so you probably want the same, but who knows. Okay, I'm adding a little bit of brown in there, and then I'm going to spread it around. Now I'm going to add in the cool green, and it's going to be a lot darker. Okay, now it's not going to be this color. It's a little bit not enough earthy for me, so I'm going to add in brown. Okay, but that cooler blue-green is going to make it a cooler color. So this is like a warmer green. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just add this in here, kind of like it's a separate leaves. Okay, you go up, and what you're doing is you're just kind of pretending you know where the flowers are going to go. So some cracks. I'm going to fill in a little bit of this. There's going to be a nice big flower in here, and so I want this to have irregular lines. And then I'm going to let the color bleed to the side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add water to the side first. Now I can start moving the color over, and it just looks smeary, and that's what I want. Is it to kind of bleed, and then it'll have this gradient effect. And I'm going to have it come about right over here. And the reason why the shadow is going to be one of the colors is it really complements it. And it's going to come all the way to the bottom. And it doesn't matter if it's perfect or it comes up. Now I'm going to grab some brown color and I'm going to let it bleed a little. Okay, because remember, when it's wet it's going to bleed. And I'm also going to create a ridge down here where there's more shadow. Okay, and that's what I want. And this right here is also going to be darker on this side. Remember how I told you that wasn't quite done? And right here on this side it's going to be darker. Now the trick with this is you don't want to have these lines right here, so you just spread the color. And I can also take some color, and since this is activated with water, I can bring this color in here and let it bleed as well. And then take up any color that I don't want. So it kind of looks like this shadowed on the edge here. So now we're going to get to the next step where we want to add our flowers, and then we'll finish it up. So with the flowers, I'm using a bright red. You can choose whatever colors you want, but I'm not just going to be using bright red. I'm going to be adding some shadows with a more purple red. So I'm going to come in here, and now notice when I place down my flowers to make it look like petals, I am dabbing, and I am not being precise about this at all. Okay, dab, 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 picking up more colors, dab, dab, dab. And you see how that makes it look like there's petals already, and I don't even have to do much work to do it. Okay, and if you let some of that light be right there, it's going to separate the flowers. So just keep it there. Go with the flow with your paints. I'm going to bring this all the way to the edge here, and it does not matter if it starts to go with my other colors. That is the look we're going for with this painting. And I'm going to reach to the top here with a flower and coming to that edge. And I'm going to fill this area in with color. Okay, and then I'm going to come in here and let some of this color bleed with that other color and scrub out the line. When you do that, just kind of take your brush and activate the color underneath it a little bit. And you can go right over it and let it kind of mesh together. I'm going to come in here with my more purpley red. And I'm going to create some shadows. So I want to activate this color really good so it's nice and dark. Come in and just add some of the different color. Not very much. You don't need a lot. I'm just going to give it more of a dimension. And I'm going to make some stems and things. So I'm going to make a stem right here. And I'm going to just dab in another stem. And then this right here, between here, gets some dark color. Like there's a bunch of stems coming out right here. And it carries on to the outside right here. And blends in with this right here. So I scrub it a little bit and then activate the color some more. And then bring in that dark color. And bring it in and let it blend. Add a little of the dark over here to balance it out. And when you have watercolors, they do tend to dry lighter than what you see. So it's always good to let it dry and then add a layer on top if you find that it's not dark enough, there's not enough contrast in areas. And since this is dry, I can add a little more detail. And then really you don't have to make anything else look like a leaf because you got the impression of a leaf right there. Through here, I want a deep red coming. Go a little more deep. So I'm adding another layer of color. Okay, I'm gonna decide, and this is personal choice, okay? But I'm gonna decide to make some flecks over here of the dark. Thank you so much for creating with me. I hope that you had a lot of fun. If you like these videos, types of videos like this, go ahead and subscribe. And also consider becoming a member. And there's a link in the description below, or you can click right somewhere around here and it'll take you to become a member, and you can choose what lessons that you want. And I also share art tips and sometimes bonus videos that only members get to see, and then we have a lot of fun. And I just want to say a big thank you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!